Hey guys, Miss Smith here with our second quiz for Module 2, Topic B. Today's quiz is going to cover rounding numbers to the nearest 10 and 100, and it will involve using a number line in order to do that. So we have lots of questions. We talked about as a class, it's going to be really important to read questions carefully. There's a lot of reading that needs to happen in order to understand what it is they're asking. So the first question says, Mia plots a point on the number line to represent the number 89. So here we have a number line, and you can see right here she has plotted the point that would represent 89. Part A asks us to complete the sentences. Write one answer from the given choices in each blank. Not all answer choices will be used. So basically we have two sentences that we need to complete using these words or numbers. 89 is between this and this on the number line. So what I need to do is I need to look at the tens that 89 lives between on the number line, and I can see that it lives between 80 and 90. It is more than halfway between the two tens, less than halfway between the two tens, or exactly halfway between the two tens. So the next thing I need to determine is where the halfway mark is between 80 and 90. Here is the halfway point, which is 85, and we can see that 89 is more. It is more than halfway. Part B then asks us, what is 89 rounded to the nearest 10? So again, I'm looking at, is it closer to 80, or will it round up to 90? Which is it closest to? And it's very clear that it is closest to 90. Number 2 says, Shen plots a point on the number line to represent the number 481. So again, I see a number line, but this time I notice that instead of counting by tens, we are counting by hundreds. And 481 has been plotted right here between this 100 and this 100. Complete the sentences. Write one answer from the given answer choices in each blank. Not all answer choices will be used. 481 is between 400 and 500. So I'm looking for those numbers. It is, I'm going to find that halfway mark, which is 450. And I can see 481 is more. It's more than halfway between the two hundreds. On the back, it's going to ask us to round 481 to the nearest hundred. If I want to, I can look back at my number line and use it as a tool. When I look at 481 on that number line, because it is more than halfway, I see that it rounds up to the next 100. So 481 rounded to the nearest hundred would be 500. Think about the number 278. What is 278 rounded to the nearest 10? So here I caution students to be careful. We want to look at the tens here if we are rounding to the tens. So we have hundreds, which are 2. We have 2 hundreds. We have 7 tens, and we have 8 ones. They're asking us to round to the nearest 10, so this is going to be very important. When I go my number line, the lowest this number could round to would be 7/10 or 70. I can't forget though that this is a 3-digit number, and so it is in the hundreds or 200s. 270 would be my lowest possible. And then if they're asking me to round to the nearest 10, I am counting by tens. So I have 270, then the next number would be 280. I have used the 270 on my number line. I have used the 280 on my other end of my number line. And then I want to look for the halfway mark that helps me decide which way to round. 275 would be my halfway mark. And then finally, plotting 278. I have to think about, is it going to be less than 275 or more than? If a student is unclear, they can count on by ones. 271, 272, 273, 274, 275, 276, 277, 278. And then we had 279, 280. So I have plotted each of those on the number line, but I cannot forget to answer part A. What is 278 rounded to the nearest 10? It's going to round to 280. 280 would be what it rounds to. So we want students to be careful and not accidentally round to the nearest 100 when they're asking them to round to the nearest 10. The final question type that they will see on their quiz tomorrow is a little bit wordy, and we went over this question type today, so hopefully they can show you what we learned today as well. It says, what is the greatest whole number that rounds to 370 when rounded to the nearest 10? Plot a point on the number line to show your answer. So the first thing we had to do was think about what this question is asking. What is the greatest whole number? So we're thinking biggest. In math, when we see the word greatest, I'm asking, what is the biggest number that could round to 370 if we are rounding by tens? So we have to look first for some tens. So we've got 350, 360, 370, 380, 390, 400. All of those are counting by tens, okay? Then we're going to locate where 370 lives on the number line. There's 370. I need to think about numbers that would round to 370. I know once I get to the halfway mark, those numbers will round up to 370. But I also need to consider on this side of 370, the numbers before the halfway mark will round down to 370. Once I get to the halfway mark, it will not round down to 370, it will round up. So looking, this would be the largest number or the greatest number that would still round to 370. So I need to figure out what number that is. 371, 372, 373, 374. So 374 would be the greatest number that would still round to 370. I hope that was helpful and that you can study with your child.